bring that fat bottom back to fat bottom bistro again soon.
Wozala, let's talk about it. Imagine you just finished high school, woke up one morning, took a pregnancy test, realized you were pregnant for the guy you just had a one-night stand with. To make things worse, that guy actually works at the diner owned by your father, where you were recently promoted as the manager. Sounds like hell, doesn't it? So I finally watched Last Straw, and if you haven't heard about Last Straw, it's a horror slasher movie that was recently released digitally on all platforms. You should definitely check it out if you can. From the onset, we're introduced to the protagonist Nancy Osborne, played by Jessica Balkin. And by the way, if you feel like she looks eerily familiar, she was actually this little kid in American Horror Story. So I found that like really cool because initially I was like, where do I know her from? But this is also Alan Scott Neal's directorial debut. And quite honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. Reason being, as a horror fanatic, I've always found slasher movies to be beautifully gruesome, but quite honestly, boring and redundant with the storylines. We usually just have the villain grabbing the knife, slashing, and the last person he kills is right before the credits. But this movie was definitely not like that. And if you know Alan Scott Neal, you know that he's had experience with casting on shows like Euphoria and A24's Uncut Gems. It wasn't any surprise that he was able to build up the suspense in such a way that kind of picks at you as the viewer. Let me explain. So with production companies like A24, one thing I've noticed is when they make horror movies, to get the aura of the horror, ooh, that rhymes. We see that they use things that irritate us or things that annoy us to kind of bring in that feeling of discomfort in the viewer. And that's the same thing that, whether he knew it or not, Alan Scott Neal was doing in Last Straw, which helped a lot to support the great actors and actresses that he chose for the roles in the movie. And if there's anything I could take away from watching this movie, is how good the cinematography was. It was able to portray the theme of the movie and the ambience of the movie so perfectly, even though the script didn't really back it up that much. So kudos to Alan Scott Neal for also choosing amazing actors and actresses, because they were able to just hit it out of the park. So don't do crack, kids, because you'll probably end up killing all of your friends. Should you watch this movie? I think you should. But then again, what do I know? I'm just giving you opinions nobody asked for.